What's up? What's up? Top of the morning to you. Jahmai Webster here, joined alongside by CBS Sports national baseball writer Julian McWilliams. And it's 310 The Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Julian, I got to tell you, man, off the top here, I am absolutely exhausted. I thought the Red Sox were going to clinch last night in Toronto, and it did not happen. Matter of fact, they were getting perfect games through 5-6 innings, and we still got home late, going through customs. And, it would have been worth it if there was some champagne showers and some beer and some adult beverages and some celebrations. But none of that happened, and I still walked in the door of my house at 4:30 in the morning. So happy to be here with you 6 hours later, if my math is even correct, because I didn't go to sleep right when I stepped in the house. So how are you doing this morning, man? I know you had some – you're still a Canadian citizen.
Oh, woe's me, huh? I'm doing terrible. I have my travel plans have all been jacked up because of the rain last night. They banged all the flights. They rebooked me for Saturday. I couldn't.
Saturday.
I was looking for flights for today. Yesterday, after the flight got canceled, they were all like $1,500. So my boy downtown Ian Brown was like, "Hey, why don't you just think about renting a car and driving over to Buffalo because it's an hour and a half away." So I'm gonna do that today. I got a flight out this afternoon, so we'll figure it out. But we're here though. We're here.
Yeah, most importantly, we're here. Red Sox are back home, starting up a 3-game series here with the Detroit Tigers, who have been free falling like we've never seen before. It's been absolutely incredible to watch, and they're holding on by a thread, but they still have an opportunity to make it into the postseason as well. The Red Sox still, magic number remains 1. Tonight's game's on Apple TV. We will have pre- and post-game coverage on NESN, and obviously we have Saturday and Sunday. So we got games 159, 160, 161, and 162. So the Red Sox are close to clinching that playoff spot. Question is, with the magic number 1, do they do it themselves, or do they get some help from the Houston Astros, who are any combination of a Houston loss or a Red Sox win gets them into the postseason? So how do you see it playing out?
Well, the Houston Astros do. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They do play the Angels.
Yes. They have to win out Houston in order to get into the postseason. So
that's a real possibility.
Can they sweep the Halos? Who knows what they're playing for at this particular time?
Certainly. Probably to be spoilers, but
spirit, personal pride, spoiling. Yeah.
They could certainly do it. But I think what the Red Sox will want to do, I think they'll want to win, right? I think you want to win the game to get you in. That's what makes it feel sweeter. That's what makes it feel better. Obviously, getting in is the ultimate prize, but when you're front of your hometown team, it's been since 2021 that they have not made the playoffs. So I think it'll be a little bit more special for them to win a game. But I could see Houston losing one of those 3 games because, they do have the Angels do play well at certain periods of time. They slug a little bit. Obviously you have Trout there. So there is a possibility, particularly how the Angels are playing. The Astros are playing. I did not think they were going to, even though I know the A's are a team that's on the rise and they have a lot of good young players. I didn't expect the Astros to get pants like that in that series. In fact, last week I said that I thought they would win the division before even going into their series against the Seattle Mariners. But turned out to be not true, and obviously the Mariners took care of business. But I think the Astros could win out, but I more than likely I think drop one of those 3 games.
Yeah, it truly is amazing how much can change in a week in this game. Because you go on a bad losing streak, and we've seen it from Detroit Houston has put themselves in a terrible position. But it's possible, for them to go out and beat the Astros or beat the Angels in a 3-game series sweep. Like we said, who knows what they're playing for at this particular time? But I absolutely love the chaos. This has been exciting. I mean, at one time last week or earlier this week, there was only one American League team who had punched their ticket to the postseason. National League is a lot different. We can get into which league is stronger once the playoff picture is set, but National League teams have been taking care of their business. Still some things to play out as it relates to that, but losing in Toronto, and it's Lou mentioned it last night. Red Sox have gone on this stretch of winning a series, like winning the first two, not being able to secure the sweep. Understanding that it's hard. It's been like 7 now where they've done that. Obviously, baseball is an incredibly hard sport to sweep teams on a consistent basis like that. But they put themselves in position to win the series, which you would take. But it just puts a damper on a series win when you lose the finale like that, especially at a time of year like this, where that is the difference between securing your playoff spot, setting yourself up for next week already, and maybe moving some pieces around this final series. But how much pressure do you think it puts on this squad now to try and go out there and secure a playoff spot in front of their home fans? Or do you look at it as an advantage? Because Trevor said it last night. He said it's going to be fun to do it in front of the home crowd. Obviously, this crowd has been clamoring for this for the last 4 years. The fan base is thirsty for a postseason appearance and hopefully beyond. But this is a team, and with the exception of Alex Bregman and Nathaniel Lowe's World Series experience, Aroldis Chapman, a lot of these guys, even though you got one game, you got 3 games to win one. This is an experience that a lot of these players are stepping into for the first time. So far, they've handled themselves pretty well, but I wonder if it adds a little bit more pressure given the fact that we're running out of real estate, we're running out of runway, and the season literally is over in 3 days.
That's crazy. That's hard to fathom. You said the season's over. Just when you put it like that, and like the baseball season, when it's done, right? It's always like, you remember how we always say, like when we're covering a team on a daily basis, and we would get to the end of the season, and you're on that grind, and it's like, okay, guys, see you in spring. It's like, huh? Like,
yeah,
it's
right.
Done like that. So I think, look, I do think that there's some added pressure for them to be able to do it, right? Particularly if like you lose tonight, and then he's like, okay, dang, like we need to get one of these next 2s, and the Astros win, right? And look, like Detroit's not a bad team, right? They've been at a point they were the best team in baseball. Now they've dealt with injuries beyond Skubal. Their pitching staff is a little bit in a disarray, or a lot. It's a lot of commotion out there. I don't think they really have that much, and I think that's been part of their problem. But 3 games is 3 games, Jahmai. I mean, anybody can win 3 games straight. Anybody can lose 3 games straight. Anybody could win 2 out of 3, and I know that would get the Red Sox in if they win 2 out of 3, or if they win 1 out of 3. But we've seen this happen time and time again. So this is why you don't want to leave games on the table. As you said, Lou alluded to it, not being able to sweep teams. If you consider that they would have to, if they had maybe 1 or 2 or more of those sweeps in the bag, they might have been in the playoffs. We always do this when the season comes to an end, right? You always look back at the games you could have won, you should have won. I think Rich Hill said that to me last week when I was interviewing him for a story I was doing on Clayton Kershaw. He mentioned the fact of like, okay, when you don't make it, or when you're at the end of the season and you're grinding for that playoff spot, you always look back and you start looking up that game in April. Okay, what about that game in mid-June that happened on a random Sunday, Wednesday afternoon makeup game, right? With like 10,000 fans there. He's like, you just always look at those games and you're like, dang, well, we could have made up ground on this one, but so that's why right? I look like a team like the Mariners. I know they're like a second half team, and Julio Rodriguez is a second half player, but a lot of times this year, with being the exception because they were able to pull it out, I think a lot of their struggles have to do with the fact that like Julio Rodriguez is sort of this late starter, right? He gets going late, and you're leaving games on the table in April, May, and June, right? But then it's like, oh well, he gets hot in July and August. It's like, no, I need him hot in April. I need him hot in May.
Maybe too late.
Like maybe I can have a sense of maybe you can have a month where you struggle, but I need you to be on point when the season starts, right? And I don't and so I think with these teams, a lot of teams, they get on these runs. If the Cleveland Guardians for some reason don't make the playoffs, which I think they would look back, it's like, dang, we've had this, we had that. Now they've had a lot of stuff from like players. It's incredible that they're here. But yeah, I mean, you look at this, you look at the Red Sox, you say, okay, they'll be able to pull out one of those three, and I think they'll be able to do it ultimately, and they'll be able to do it at home, and it'll be a little bit more sweeter versus having to do it across the border, have the travel involved in it, you know, and having to wake up today and play a game. So if they can get tonight, that'll be huge because you do not want to go into those last two games or that last game trying to get that last one. If they lose tonight and tomorrow, Sunday, you'd be like, and Houston wins tonight and tomorrow. I mean, it's been that type of year, Jahmai. It's been that type of year. I mean,
and that's why
the Mets are a half game up on the Cincinnati Reds and don't own the tiebreaker. And you have and Marlins lined up their pitching staff to have Sandauer go on Sunday. Like the pitchers that they're throwing out there this weekend are like guys that are somewhat dudes, right? Sandy Alcantara, we know he's had a bad year, but that's a former Cy Young winner. But if you're looking at this team and you're looking at the Mets and saying you're a half up on the Cincinnati Reds and you got Juan Soto and all this stuff and all these guys and you won't be able to do it, man, the pressure
$300 million payroll.
The pressure is on, and I love the pressure of all this. And hopefully for the Red Sox sake, they can alleviate some of that pressure by getting it done tonight.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. Pressure is a privilege. Obviously, I was talking with Blue Jays manager John Snyder yesterday, and he explained I know they are feeling it. Yeah, but I mean, they've already punched their ticket. They're in at least. They just want to win the division.
You want to win the division, but it's like, and you got to win.
And they need that. They need that week of extra rest to figure out their situation and reset their lineup, their rotation as well.
The rotation, and I think because if the Red Sox go up there, right, and they play the Blue Jays, I would have them winning that series. I would much rather play the Blue Jays and the Yankees just based on the starting pitching, right? The Blue Jays don't really have those many dominant starters. Chris Bassett's on the IL. Kevin Gausman, I guess you could say he's a guy. Jose Barrios
is, but they got after him. They got after him, and seeing him again within a week span, I like the matchup. So
with Garrett Crochet now, certainly. Jose Barrios was moved to the bullpen. Now he's on the IL with elbow inflammation. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with this team. Shane Bieber, I guess you can say that's a guy that you can possibly going back from Tommy John surgery. So versus seeing Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, and then if you have to go to Game 3, the guy who you've never seen before, who has great stuff, elite stuff, Cam Schlittler, I know I just think you got to the Blue Jays, for their sake, they would much rather have that long series because Aaron Boone said it yesterday. I think somebody asked him the question about is it better to have a bye or is it better to have a bye or is it to play so you don't have that long rest? And Aaron Boone says, well, I mean, the long is less games sort of to get to the World Series, right? Like we don't have, it means avoiding that wild card round because anything can happen in a 3-game series. And and those
could happen.
Have a better record and have played well against the Red Sox other than this series this year. You don't want to get into a 3-game series with them, particularly with Garrett Crochet going first game. Nah. So I think the Blue Jays are seeing that. They're feeling that and they know that and they say, hey, we need to get into a little bit longer of a series to establish everything that we have, right? Establish our lineup, establish our bats versus having that pressure of feeling like we have to win. Because keep in mind, during the Vlad era, they won a playoff game. So it's on. It's on. And I think some of those younger guys are feeling it as well. And, so yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so we will tap into that. And the playoff path is an interesting conversation, but we got to take a short break. When we come back, that and more on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. We'll be right back.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, we paid a few bills, bringing you back here on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, Jahmai, Webster, Julian, McWilliams, here with you this morning as the Red Sox are on the precipice of securing their spot in the postseason. 3 games to go against the Detroit Tigers, and we were just talking about the playoff path, Julian, and having a bye or playing in the wild card. We really saw that play out for the first time in this new format where you have 3 wild card teams last season, where those teams who were the better teams over the course of 162 were actually losing series to teams that were getting hot at the right time. And that played into some of them pushing all the way to the ALCS, or even, you think about a Yankees team that got to the World Series. Although they were pretty much the class of the American League last year, but you could have seen other teams, overtaking them in series, and it just didn't happen. Obviously, there was an epic series against Cleveland, who was one of those hot teams last season. But speaking of that playoff path, now that the Red Sox cannot win the AL East, a loss last night secured them. So that drought continues, trying to be division champs for the first time since 2018. That will not happen for them. And they will also now be on the road to start the playoffs. So that is a guarantee. How much do you think that their playoff path is that much harder now, given those 2 things? And they'll be playing on Tuesday, hopefully for them, all the way through the rest of the month. But how much harder does it make it playing in the wild card?
It's harder, but I think the one thing that this team has done well is that they've sort of embraced the difficulty of trying to win, right? And obviously the postseason is different, but I mean, Jahmai, if you look back, right, Bregman gets hurt, Devers gets traded, Willier gets hurt, Roman gets hurt, right? And
Still hurt.
At each point, they don't do much at the deadline, right? So you can point to 5 things that happened over the course of the season that was supposed to sink this team, and it hasn't. Do I think they're a World Series team? No. Do I think they're a team that could possibly find their way into an ALCS? Possibly, yeah, because I just don't think this division is that good. And I definitely think they're a team that can fight their way into the ALDS. So I think with Garrett Crochet going on the mound in that game 1, that's the great equalizer. But again, I've said on numerous times, off air, on air, is that Garrett's never done it before, and so that remains to be seen. But if there's somebody that you want on the mound, it's probably him, Skeens, right, Skubal, Yamamoto, those guys. He's of that ilk, and I think if you have him in play, that should at least give you some calm for game 1 to be able to go out there and get it done, no matter who you play. So I never really thought that they were encouraged that the division was a possibility, even as they were playing better, a little bit stretch, because Toronto was playing well for a long period of time, and they sort of seemed to run away with it until the Yankees came up and began playing better, even though they were like the worst team because they were the worst team in baseball probably from like June through probably mid-August. And now you're looking at them and you're saying, okay, they're going to possibly host a wild card round or possibly win the division. And then you have the Blue Jays who are in that same boat. So I think there is pressure. But again, like I said, this team has handled difficulty well. And, anything can happen. I think this team has been preparing for a wild card series, even though there was talk of the division. I think they've been preparing for this moment for a pretty long time.
Yeah, and I'm just looking it up right now because this is leading me to my next point or next question for you. But I will say, at the time, I thought that you don't really want this team to not play in a wild card because they were so young. You want them to continue that experience.
Right.
I mean, having a week off, you don't know how they're going to respond to that, especially if they're hot at the end of the year. So I think playing in a wild card is actually better for this team, given their experience level. A lot of guys have never been to the postseason, and having Bregman, having Aroldis, having guys with championship level experience, Nathaniel Lowe, even Garrett Whitlock to this point has at least touched the playoffs, tasted it, had a deep run. So just understanding how to prepare your body and get ready for that, I think it'd be beneficial for this specific group. Maybe going forward, you want the guys to have rest. Obviously, you want to try to have Roman Anthony back, but who knows what he's doing? He had an intense session. I mean, I think Alex Court said the goal was for him, and the inspiration that he tried to instill in him when he went down with the injury was just imagine yourself taking that first at bat in the ALCS. I mean,
I don't. And from the standpoint of, dude, he's 22. He's had that's a major injury that he's had, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this team is necessarily invested in bringing him back early that young because he's still trying to learn his body. I mean, there's one thing for Bregman to play through something, right? But he understands he can do right now. And then to throw this kid into that situation against like the best of the best, because the regular season is one thing. Again, like it's a good measuring stick, but it's not the measuring stick for success, right? I mean, we see with Aaron Judge every year, right? Where he goes from being Barry Bonds like in the regular season to looking like Kike Hernandez in the regular season, but in the postseason.
Kike catching strays here on 310 to the left.
No, but Kike great in the postseason. Barry Bonds in the postseason. So you're like,
he has stepped up.
What's it doesn't necessarily mean because you're the best player in the world that you're going to have the best series, right? It's not like, oh, we got LeBron James on our team. We got Tom Brady on our side. Like there's little that you can control, only outside of like you can't affect winning as much as you possibly think you possibly can. I don't know the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that
I understand what you're saying.
There's no barometer for the postseason. There's really no translation. So what you're saying with this young team and Roman Anthony possibly coming back, that's a lot. That's a very, very high pressure situation to put this kid into. And can he handle it? Yes, I think he could. But ultimately, what's the risk of getting him hurt again? And potentially losing him for even more time going into next season. You don't want him. I don't think they want to mess with that. I think they've seen enough to be like, okay, we have to get this done the way we have to get this done without him. But what we saw from Roman this year, he's for sure going to be the best player on this team for a very, very long time. I just don't know coming back. But I just don't see it.
He could. I guess we'll probably get a little bit more clarity on that. Craig Breslow was in Toronto and said that he's not doing much in the way of baseball activities or anything at all. Really, he's just kind of walking on the treadmill and and getting his treatment and doing that whole thing.
The ALCS would be what? October,
like a month from now. Yeah,
not
it was the week of the 20th. The week of the 20th, I'm getting. Or the week of the 19th.
Yeah, dude, that's 3 weeks.
So I mean, the kid has been out since August, the first week of. No, it's been a while, man. It's crazy to even think about, but you bring up some great points though, because once you get to the playoffs, the pressure is higher. You're facing guys who are absolutely locked in. You'd be locked in too as well, but just understanding your body, what you can put it through, and the stress that you can take it, and the threshold that you can push it after coming off a oblique injury like that.
Remember, he said he's never felt this before, Jahmai. Like,
right, this is the first time, right? Exactly. So you want to be careful with that.
His swing mechanics would be different. Him to be hesitant, all those things that can have this sort of collateral damage to anything else. Like I don't know. I don't know. I think they're gonna. If he did come back, I would see it as like, wow, that's like some
Superman
Bernard King stuff right there, or whatever. Yeah. So but I look. But to answer your first question about the series being young, them having they're a young team, and they'll possibly need to get their feet wet. Is what you said? What was your question?
Yeah, just continuing to play because
I think it's good for the team to continue to play.
They're young.
Certainly, I think it's good for the team to continue to play. Like even going into the All-Star break, I was like, when they won those 12 games in a row, I'm like, man, like this is the team that you want to just keep going, right? Because they're young. You want them having this time off where they might, they're young, right? They might stray away. The minds might go here, might go there. Like, they don't have to even go about going out. It just takes you out of a rhythm. And I think for this team, you would obviously want to win the division. But with that, I still can look at this and say, you could look at this from the positive perspective and saying, okay, at least our guys will still have the rhythm of a season and being able to play. Now, how that looks once you get to the later rounds, because you played those previous games, time will tell. It's much better to have a Garrett Crochet that does not have to pitch in a wild card game and just have to pitch in game one of the ALDS, right? Because now Garrett Crochet there's no more us protecting you with 5 days rest, or hey, we're gonna push you back here. There's no pushing back, right? Now the gates are open. Let's give us what you got, and that's
where
the
tank. You got to empty the clip in the postseason.
Yeah, you got to empty the clip, man. You got to empty the clip. So it's at that point now where you're gonna really see the test of durability, and that's where I'm most Jahmai is with not Garrett Crochet per se, but the players, people around him. Lucas Giolito looks like he's getting a little bit tired.
You know what? You're bringing up some great points. Hold on to that thought, because I want to tap into this when we come back, talking about the Red Sox pitching heading into the final weekend of the series and beyond. And we're going to get your thoughts on how some of the pitching plays out, because they're going to be counting on some of these arms who they've ridden all year, who, as you said, appear to be slowing down a bit. Much more on that when we come back from this short break on 310 The Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. Back here on 310 The Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. I know exactly what you did there, Julian. That's not funny. We're talking about the Red Sox pitching heading into the final weekend of the series, final series of the weekend, and also potentially the playoff matchups in the wild card. Obviously, Garrett Crochet going in game one. Then you would imagine it would be Brian Bale and then Lucas Giolito, combination of the two, however you see fit. But it'll be those guys in the 3 wild card games if it should go that far. But from what we saw from Bale yesterday, 5 scoreless, looked great, right? And really one of his stronger starts of September. Although, hold on, I see that face of yours, man. Hold on. One of his stronger starts of September, 5 scoreless, and then in the 6th, it kind of blew up. Like he was wild, erratic. He hit a guy, walked a guy, and then next thing you know, Varsho hits a grand slam because Wilson comes in there, inherits his runners, and not able to clean up the situation. But early on, he looked solid. He came out and he was pitching effectively. He got some help, certainly from the double play and getting out of jams, but we hadn't seen him pitch that great this month, which started to create some questions about, where he was at. But Cora said post game that he looked crisp. It was a good one in that regard. But again, the 6th, just a different animal for him. So actually, for the first time all season, he's got three losing decisions, which when you consider Bale, how he's come along, for it to come in September, 3 straight losing decisions, that just speaks to the body of work, I think, for the effective pitching. Because there was a point in time, and Lou mentioned it last night, where you had so much confidence in what he was doing, giving you 6, giving you 7, sometimes 8 innings on a consistent basis, and what he did in New York against the Yankees, where he was almost an automatic, like the way you look at Garrett Crochet and what he's going to give you. He started to falter off a little bit, but as we look towards the postseason now and the Red Sox pitching, how do you see that playing out from the way these guys have marched into September? And speaking specifically really about Brian Bale and Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, so I'm looking back at Bale's starts in September, not in September, in April. And no, beginning of May, he had a bad month. Basically, he went 4 2/3 inning, 4 2/3, 4 1/3, 4 innings, 4 2/3. So he didn't make it through 5 innings and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his 6 starts. And then he went for the remainder of the season, he's gone at least 5 innings until his April 18th start against the Athletics, where he went 4 innings, right? So I mean, he's had a good here, but the thing that I look for the most is sort of location, right? And you can say, yes, last night was a good start, but I'm looking at it, 3 base on balls and 2 hit batsmen, right? And that's just not gonna play in the postseason. Those things are gonna come back to bite you. And with Lucas Giolito, and Lucas Giolito similarly, like he's been even worse, where he's had his good runs, but dude, he has 30 walks in his last 10 starts, 13 in his last 4 or 5 starts. Right?
Yeah.
3 or 4.
To quote Alex Cora, the walks come back to bite him.
In one outing, I believe last month, he had 6 walks, right, against the Padres. On August 9th. So that was probably his worst start of the season. And then then they had against the Athletics, he had 5 walks and he get hit. And then against Toronto, he had 4 walks. So what does that tell me about a guy? That tells me he's tired. That tells me he's tired, right? That if you can't locate, you're missing big. That tells me you're tired. And again, like before going to break, I'm concerned about everybody minus Crochet, because you look at this rotation, you're saying, okay, Brian Bale might be getting tired. Lucas Giolito just came back from an injury. This is his first year back from an injury. He might be getting tired, which is understandable. But then who do you have? Conley Early? Dustin May's not there anymore. You really don't have a number 5 starter. And granted, you don't need a number 5 starter really in the postseason on like that. But you don't need it if you have a 1, 2, and 3. They have a 1, but the 2 and 3 is what I'm most concerned about going into the postseasons. I think that's going to have to be something that they're going to have to prove us again that, hey, they can handle this, because clearly toward the end of the season, you could tell. And this was something also that Rich Hill told me. I was like, how do you know if a guy's getting tired? He was like, well, you have to look at their misses. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, well, how big are they? It's not the fact of if if a guy's missing up here and it's located right here and his balls are out of the zone, that tells you the guy's tired. I've seen a lot of that from or some of that from Lucas Giolito, even from Garrett Crochet at times. And I'm fascinated to see what this will all look like in the postseason, because I think it can go one of two ways. It can go bad or really good. And the Red Sox have had a way of making their lives look like it's going to hell, and then all of a sudden just surviving it.
Yeah, this team will not die. Will not go quietly into the night. That famous scene from Independence Day with Will Smith. Great speech by I forget the character's name. He was the president, but that's the Red Sox for sure. They and on another scale, given the division, like we're talking about Toronto as well and the Yankees, but the Blue Jays, I think we discussed this on the last episode, how they've been first place since 4th of July, sole possession. And obviously that's changed this week, but that was another team where you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for them to be overtaken by the Yankees or maybe even the Red Sox, and that just hadn't happened. And going into the final week, they have a chance to still win the division. So you have to be believers in the team.
It still hasn't happened. The Yankees have the same record, but they own the tiebreaker, so they're essentially up one game. So
right.
If they
win this 2 out of 3, they'll win the division.
Is that right?
And the Yankees lose. I think. I mean, if the Yankees sweep, then they would.
Yeah, because they would essentially be a game ahead. So
exactly.
So if the Yankees win 3 out of 3, they'll win the division. And if Toronto doesn't sweep whoever they're playing, I forget who they're playing.
They're playing the Rays. Rays are coming to town. So they got Tampa, who isn't playing for anything right now.
Ago. So I think the Rays beat them a week or so ago at their place.
They swept them, I believe.
Swept them, right?
I believe it was a sweep. Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm looking at it right now. Who's lining up?
The Rays are a really good. Like they're a respectable team. They always are. I mean, before this year and last year, they were the team that was always in the playoffs as well. So
right. I mean, they got a more recent division win.
And
Yankees, and they got Yandy Diaz, who's the best hitter in the world, it seemed, when we were there in Tampa just last week. Could not get that guy out. So they've got some pieces. They got some players. Junior Caminero, 40-plus homers.
The Yankees but they do face Trevor Rogers. Hold on, tonight. Who's
it's lined up. It's lined up. They got their best pitching staff against
Kyle Bradish. Kyle
Bradish is pitching. Kyle Bradish, Trevor Rogers, and Sagano. So they're lined up. They're throwing their best pitchers. Baltimore is throwing their best pitchers at the Yankees. All these guys can beat you on any given day. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. I think the Rays are going to give them a little less of a problem, talking about Toronto. So it feels like the Yankees are going to have to earn this division win if they're going to take it for sure, because of the starting pitching in Baltimore.
Yeah. And look, the Yankees have done remember we talked about them going through that gauntlet of I think it was Astros, the Blue Jays, and they took care of business against them, and then they lost that one series against the Tigers before the Tigers went. That's when the Tigers started going downhill, was after that Yankee series a couple weeks ago, where they started all of a sudden losing all those games. So they definitely took care of what they were supposed to take care of in that realm. But I'm interested to see what this all looks like in October under the lights, with World Series implications on the line, ALCS implications on the line, your pride on the line, the fans into it. I just wish that we could also, Jahmai, just get a series at Fenway, because if they don't win this series, it'll
Yeah, it
still
won't
be
be playoff.
one that's seen a series at Fenway. And I feel like these fans, as much as they've been through with the Devers trade, the Xander not signed Xander to the extension, injuries, you name it, going from Heim to Breslow, it's there's been a lot of moving parts here with this team that's created a lot of trauma in some sense.
Yeah. Yes.
So for them to have to possibly get an ALDS game there, I think that's something that they would probably deserve.
100%. And I just was looking it up. The Blue Jays are going to be facing Adrian Hauser, John Boyle, who was erratic, but he had electric stuff, high 90s fastball. Really gave the Red Sox some fits in the game that they played.
That's been their problem. They had a poor run. And you saw that quote from Schneider yesterday where he was like, "Dog, I need Vladdy to start being Vladdy."
Right, exactly.
Like, this dude's up there hits. I need him to hit. I need him to hit the ball in the air.
Hit tanks, exactly. Yeah. Right. So
Bishop back yet?
We'll see.
So
who's that?
Bo Bichette. He's not back yet.
Yeah, he's not back yet. No. So they're probably looking to get him. Maybe the division series. He's another one who's dealing with some things.
Because when I was in Schneider's pregame, he said that he's hitting this was the first day of the series on what was that day? He said that he's hitting in the cages, but he's not doing any running yet. So that for me signals this might be something that's probably may not be wild card, but like you said, ALDS maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Well, if you're never running, that's never a good thing.
Never a good thing. That's one of the three phases of the game. So it'll be interesting how it plays out with the division. But we're going to take another short break on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, Sox and Shocks. After the break, you'll want to stick around to find out what that is.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
And we are back on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. I'm Jahmai Webster. We got CBS Sports national baseball writer Julian McWilliams with us as well. And we're bringing you a new segment called Sox and Shocks. The biggest surprises of the week, good or bad, Julian. So I don't know if you have anything that comes to mind, but I'll get your noodle twirling here with what was the biggest surprise of the week and how did it shape the Red Sox playoff chances with just one win needed to clinch? Biggest surprise of the week for the Red Sox this week and how it shaped their playoff chances. I think I'll start here, actually.
Go ahead.
I think it's Trevor Story's defense. His errors have started to pile up this month. I think it's 5 throwing, 2 fielding errors. I think it's up to 7 now. In September, which has been a huge surprise. And he talked about it last night. He said, sometimes your body gets tired. That's no excuse. But Alex Cora mentioned that it's coming down to just his setup and some of the mechanics of throwing the baseball to complete the out, which is a little bit, he didn't say the word, but seemingly little lazy. And I think that comes into play when you're an exceptional athlete and you're a shortstop. You kind of just fall out of the mechanics, right? And you just try to do something that you haven't done to the level you've done it because you've done it so easily over the course of a season, over the course of your career. So I think some of that is coming into play. Maybe that has to do with his body being tired. He's played in 150-plus games now, And that is something he hasn't achieved for several years because of injuries. But I think that's the biggest surprise for me. He's been so short-handed. He's made some incredible plays in the 6-hole, the jump throws, just the backhanded defense, his short-handedness. So to see that kind of falter as of late, you hope that he turns that around, and I believe that he will because he's such an exceptional defender. But then you look at the fact that he's now tied with Anthony Volpe for most errors by a shortstop.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's nuts because Volpe is not somebody that you put on the same level as Trevor defensively. You just don't. You just don't. You just do not. So
you don't.
It's a head scratcher. It's a surprise. It really is.
It is. No, I don't think I'll be able to top that shocker. I think you should have probably just led with shocker. Trevor Story leads the major leagues alongside Anthony Volpe with the most errors made this season. I think that would have been a shocker within itself. And like errors, whole story. Obviously, look, the throwing part of it. As a former person who had the yips, and I'm not saying Trevor has the yips, but as a person whose literal like college career, indie ball career
was torpedoed because he could not get overthrown the ball to first.
Dude. But there are times where like, okay, you make one error, like a throwing error, you're like, okay, that's it. Throw me a mulligan. Second one, you're like, like, what the heck is going on? Third one, you're like, okay, a little bit. What is going on? What do I have? Like, so clearly this will be something that he gets out of. He's significantly ever better than I can ever dream of being. And he's that special of a player, that special of a defender. I don't think that they're here without Trevor. It's funny. I'm looking back now, Jahmai, and I'm like, what was the thing that was missing from this team, turning this team to a playoff team in the years past? I'm like, this wasn't Alex Bregman, right? It wasn't necessarily even like Roman Anthony. Yeah, he's here, but it was Trevor Story.
He came late. He came later. Yeah, it's Trevor Story. He's a straw that stirs the drink, the glue to keep this thing together for sure.
They didn't have a shortstop, right? And then when Trevor did play, he was just trying to get his feet under him to survive, right? And so they did not have a shortstop for parts of parts of the previous seasons he had been here. And then you're having to run out David Hamilton and all these different guys to play shortstop, sit down Rafaela, even you're losing his defense at center. And it just became this revolving door at shortstop for them because they didn't have Trevor Story. So, but like the throwing stuff, I think he'll get into it. And again, like, the legs do get tired around the season. Like, he hasn't played this long in a while. But once the page turns, I'm sure this week at Fenway, or this weekend at the Fenway, the adrenaline will be pumping. And yeah, I think I expect him to turn around. But that definitely is a shocker. For me, the shocker, immediate shocker, was William Brady throwing out Alejandro Kirk at first base.
that was I've never seen that before. That was crazy. 9-3 put out. Absolutely absurd.
Actually, hold on. I have a little story. And I was playing travel ball when we were playing like some team. It was like a local game. We were playing like some team in Westchester, whatever, Westchester, New York. And we were beating this team like bad, like probably like 15-0. Guy hits the ball to left field. Our left fielder throws him out at first base.
No.
Right? I swear to, I don't say God.
Goodness.
Word to me. He throws him out from left field. The umpire goes, out, safe, right? He's about to bring safe. And so after the game, he comes over and tells our coach, say, hey, man, look, I know I got that call wrong, but I just couldn't get him at first base. I couldn't do it. He said, yeah, I'm winning 15-0. I couldn't embarrass the kid like that. Like, the guy got thrown out from left field. And granted, like this guy had like one of the better arms, but he got thrown out from left field. So that's what reminded me of that. But that's Little League stuff, right? Where a guy gets thrown out like that, and that just tells you where the Blue Jays were at the time. Where it's like, dang, is the sky really falling? Like, not only it's one thing to ground out to shortstop and lose the game, but you grounded out to right field.
It was a one hopper, and he threw a dart back, and Lowe was able to secure it.
That's my shocker for the week.
Okay.
And again, I think, well, not again, but to add to that, you really see how misses Wilyer Abreu or missed him.
Yeah. All right, let's try to hit a few real quick. We got about 40 seconds left. Has any hitter started to heat up just in time to give the offense a lift heading into this Detroit series, you think?
I wouldn't say heat up, but I think Alex Bregman's getting lukewarm. I think he's getting – and his at-bats look better. He's pulling the ball more. I think there was one he lined out to the left fielder, and one of them I was like, his swing looks a little bit better for me.
All right, last one. You got 5 seconds. Do you believe the biggest surprise from the week will carry over in Detroit or be wiped clean once the postseason starts? And that biggest surprise, as we talked about, was Trevor.
Say it again. Say it real quick. I say it.
Will it carry over into the Detroit series, or will he wipe the slate clean and figure it out?
He's wiping the slate clean. He's back at Fenway. He's back home. He's back in his playground. He's going to get it done.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Julian McWilliams, CBS Sports National Baseball writer. I'm Jahmai Webster. 3 games to go. We'll see how this plays out, and hopefully the Red Sox get back to the postseason. First time since 21. This is 310 11, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. F-Series, best-selling truck in 48 years, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. We will see you later.